Good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon. Where you are, this is Banks Amazing, the only guy in the town who's brave enough to discuss the Constitution. This is the guy who want to welcome you, my Liberians, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, friends, wherever you are. Welcome to the Constitution Forum. Today we're going to have an interesting topic. We're still looking at the fiscal policy. We're looking at the guiding principle of the fiscal policy. It's important for me that we do that because it helps me, enlighten me, it opens my mind to continue to read the Constitution. And like I always say to people, if we are interested in reading the Constitution, we get to learn a lot of what we are to do as a people. We get to learn uh, 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 what we are responsible for as a people. We move our country to a different arena. We move our people to a different landscape. We educate our people. The more our people know about their constitutional rights, the more our people know about the constitutional responsibility of the government to them and they to the people, to the government, the more we learn about what we are to do to enhance our country, the love we need to have for our country. The more we learn those things, the better we are able to work with our government to uplift our country. When we see when we see people uprooting the light poles, it's not because of anything, it's because of barely ignorance. People don't know. People don't know that it's their responsibility to guide the government, to guide what the government put in place for them. When you hear people are stealing electric power, there's a reason. And for all these things, we're going to be looking at them as we discuss the Constitution. Our responsibility, the government responsibility. Our rights, the government rights. That's what we're going to be doing for the next couple of hours as we go through. In the meantime, let's play some music while we wait for other things to take place. Born to win. D12 on the beat. All I do was win, 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 win. Born to win. On to win. I say I was born to win. On to win. I say I was born to win. All I do was win, 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 win. All I do was win, 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 win. I say I jump boy. The whole you give me a jump boy. I say I jump boy. The whole you give me a jump boy. Never see it. That way, yeah. Yeah. So you supposed to let me. You know, let me say you supposed to let me. You supposed to let me. You know, let me say you supposed to let me. You over that you know make it cause you. You over bless you know make it cause you. When I forgot you, when I be here with oh, yeah. When I hear you, I was win, 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 win. I was win, 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 win. Born to win. I was born to win. Born to win. I say you were born to win, yeah. All I did was win, 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 win. All I did was win, 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 win. I say I'm boy. Now all you did for me, I jump boy. I say I jump boy. Now all you did for me, I jump boy. I say I jump boy. I say I'm my young. Now nobody can it. I say I'm nobody can stop it. They can do what they do, and they can talk what they talk. They do what they do. Hey.
Down the fire, the mercy. Holy Ghost, fire, the mercy. Down the fire, the mercy. Holy Ghost, fire, the mercy. Holy Ghost, born to win. I say I was born to win. Born to win. I say you were born to win. All the world win, 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 win. All the world win, 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 win. They will see a kuro with a big apple. They will see a kuro with a small apple. They will see a kuro with a big apple. They will see a kuro with a small apple. You overdash it, don't make it curse you. But you overbless you, don't make it curse you. Yeah. I say your time, now your time, nobody can stop it. I say your time, now your time, nobody can stop it. I say a drum boy, that boy do for me a drum boy. All I do is win, 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 win. All I do is win, 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 win. Born to win. I say I was born to win. Yeah, born to win. I say you were born to win. Yeah. Born to win. I say I was born to win. Born to win. I say you were born to win.
Yes, can Liberia win? Liberia was created to win. Liberia was created for winners. Can we win? Can our country win? Can our country survive? Welcome to the Constitution Forum. Today again discussing chapter 7. We are still on article 7 as we discuss chapter 2. Until then, let me bring out the show itself. Well, welcome again. Welcome to the Constitutional Forum. Liberia, our only patrimony, our common patrimony, the only place that no Liberian can be deported from. Our land, our home, our mother's land, our father's land, the land that is for all of us. What is the problem? What can we progress? Why are we where we are in this dispensation when there is a lot of progress going on? There's a lot of development. Why are we still lacking behind? Well, a lot of people will have a lot of reason, but I see one reason that we can use from bounce on and move forward, and that is the Constitution. The Constitution, our guiding force. The Constitution, our guideline, our Bible, the Bible of the Republic of Liberia. The Constitution, based on which all laws are created. Yes, the Constitution. And now, today, like we've done in the past, we've been discussing. This is in chapter 2. We are in chapter 2, and we are looking at the guiding principles that governs our laws or our progress, our development, the guiding principle for policies, the guiding principle for laws, the guiding principle for directives. All is all of them are collected and captured in chapter 2, which of course cover basic 7 articles. Today we are on Article 7. Yesterday or in the past we dealt with Article 6, the guiding principle for education. Now we're looking at Article 7, our fiscal and monetary guiding principle. And based on that, we are going to put it up so that at least we can see these principles and and see how much we can learn from the principle. Today, we are basically going to be discussing the economy. We're going to be looking at the factors that drive our economy. Liberia is a unique and for me is a very personal thing. Liberia is a very personal place to me, given the fact that when I think of Liberia, I think in line of those things that will help advance a country so loving, a country filled of a lot of people with a heart. Liberia to me and Liberia for me, I've seen a lot of good people. There's a lot that people say there's more good people in Liberia than bad. The question is, why can the good people rule? Why can the good people lead? And if the good people are leading, what is the problem? The problem is us. We the people. We should drive our country and enhance our country. We have a problem. We assume our rights. We assume a lot of things, and it does not come across easy for me. We make a lot of assumption of the things we are entitled to. Now, there are things we are entitled to. There are things that even though we are entitled to them, we need to protect them so that prosperity can benefit from them. When we fail to protect those things for the benefit of posterity, we then leave the foreign generation in a line to rebuild and destroy because that's why we teach the next generation. My generation, which is almost getting out of the line now because my generation is basically people who are above the 40s and going upward. So we basically kind of like almost about to fade out of the scene. The generation that came after us followed the same trend, but that generation was the one who basically grew up during the time of the Civil War. Now, but back to the thing about it is what they saw and how they interpreted it is the problem. Now, let us look at our national economy. I've been trying in all my weak ways. Now, remember, this article says the Republic shall manage the national economy and the natural resources of Liberia under conditions of equality to advance the general welfare of the Liberian people and the economic development of Liberia. Now, when you're managing it, the Constitution is saying that whoever manages the economy, I mean, whoever manages Liberia should manage the national economy and the natural resources so that the people's lives can be benefited and so that the economy can develop, the economy can grow. We have been seeing in the past years that the economy been shrinking and there's a lot of contributing factors. But I will take my contributing factors to the problem with the economy back to the days of Tower. People say, why you want to date it back to the days of Tower? Well, during the days of Tower, there were a lot of things that people need to be abreast of. There were good things and there were bad things. There were things that could help us and there were things that couldn't. I'm not a I'm not going to sugarcoat some things. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm going to let it fall. Our economy is driven by several factors. There are several factors that drive our economy. Remember, our economy must have a revenue intake and an expenditure. That's how our country must be run, on intake of revenue and expenditure. Now, I guess basically the component of of those two things come into what we're going to be looking into in detail. Uh, Take for example, we have an agriculture-based economy, whether we like to notice it or not. But how survivable or how sustainable is that agriculture-based economy? Back in the 70s and early 80s, before the war, anyone who lived in that time will tell you, you have Bum County, you have Lofa County as the breadbasket of the country. Those counties could generate and bring to the market a lot of crops. A lot of crops. Now, when you go to agriculture, you have to keep in mind that you have food crops and you have cash crops. Cash crop, you're talking about you be talking about cocoa, you be talking about coffee, you be talking about tobacco. Those are cash crops. Those are crops that will generate that is easily marketable and exported. Now, when you look at the food crops, you're looking at cassava, rice, plantain, banana. Those are food crops. Those ones come to the market. Now, that will circulate within the economy because it will give money to the farmers and as well as put money into the economy because that is a revolving amount of money. But since the war, all that concession has kind of like dwindled down. It's not as popular as it was because of transportation. The roads are messed up. So that's one thing I say when people talk about this government and them building roads. Yeah, even though their heart is there to build roads, even though the roads that are being constructed and those who are supervising the road are not making certain that the road meets this quality standard so that the people can benefit from it. No, they are there to just run over and make it quick. I agree. But the heart is there, and that's a good thing to build roads. Building roads is a good thing. I must applaud the president for building roads. Yes, it's good. But in building the roads, if the road is not quality enough, the people will not enjoy the benefit of the road. Because why? It will quickly damage and you got to go back and spend more money. So whoever will be monitoring this road, you have to be certain that these people meet the requisite requirement. And that comes down to us, the Liberian people. What is our commitment? They put you there as an engineer to inspect the road to make sure the road meets its dimensional quality. And you are not doing it. And you're blaming the government. Because when you leave from there, you will say the government did it. No, it's not the government, it's you. You did not make sure that the company that met the requisite requirement. So it's your responsibility. Every Liberian responsibility is to make sure Liberia meets its standard. So when you are in position to supervise, you have to make sure that you supervise it adequately and properly so that the people can benefit, so that the country can benefit back. So agriculture runs a certain portion of the economy. Yes, agriculture runs a certain portion of the economy, whether we like it or not. It runs a certain portion. It brings brings money into the economy. Now, if our agriculture base is not broadening, the number of goods and commodities that will come to the market is going to be narrow because it will be as wide as the economy. It will be as wide as is allowed in the system. If we don't concentrate on spreading and opening it, because remember, agriculture is bringing in finished product as well as products that are not processed yet. Take for example, you get rice. When the rice comes to the market, it's finished. When you get the rice, it's already through. All you gotta do is to cook and eat. But let's take plum. When you bring the plum to the market, the plum is ready. Okay, the mango is ready for people to eat. At the same time, that mango can be processed to produce jam. So it is both a raw material and a finished product. So you got those two things that are coming into the market through agriculture. We got a lot of things. We got a lot of lands that can generate a lot of things. So what is the contribution? What are we doing so that the agriculture sector can grow? The agriculture sector is so minimized. It's so small. It's so minute. Just for a little few handful of people who doing agriculture things, and most of those people are basically exporting, not finished product, exporting the raw material. They are exporting the raw material, the unprocessed material. They are exporting it so that when they get out, then it comes back to us very expensive. So again, it comes down to the fact that agriculture contributes. That's a driving factor into our economy. Okay, it's our driving factor into our economy. What are we doing to broaden that thing? People, I'll go back to 1979 on this day. On this day, April 14, 1979, there was a rice riot. Why was the rice riot? Because the president then of the day, William Richard Tolbert, said, look, we're going to increase the Pusara rice price from $9 to $21. There was a big war. People said no, without understanding the driving nature of self-sufficiency, without understanding it, without educating us on a lot of things. Said no, you cannot move it from $9 to $21. That will kill the people. The people will not be able to afford a bag of Pusara rice. He said, yeah, that's the price of a bag of Pusara rice. But a bag of country rice will be $10. Oh, we got country rice. Yeah. Made in Liberia rice. Yes, grown in Liberia rice. That would be $10. No, we don't want it. We don't want the country rice. We want the Pusara rice. So bring the Pusara rice price down. The Pusara rice is an imported rice. It's coming from outside in. What we're going to do is that we're going to make the imported rice expensive because it will promote the idea that the farmers will plant more rice if they got a broader market. The larger the market is for the country rice, the more people buying country rice, the more people will want to make a bigger farm so they can flood the market. Oh no, Mr. President, you can't do that. Not because your brother is importing Pusara rice, then you will carry the Pusara rice price up. And not because you are the sole producer of country rice, you will have the country rice imposed on us. In any way you do it, the trouble will have had money. Let's look at it logically. If the price still the same and his brother is importing rice, he still makes money from rice. They still got rice coming in. They still make extra money. If you heighten the price and people stop buying the Pusara rice, what happened? The Pusara rice fades out. His brother does not make money, but then he will sell the country rice. But he alone will not be no competitor. You will have other people, other local farmers investing their time into it so that they will have a market to sell their rice. And that rice will go on the market. And by this time, 42 years later, we are still buying rice. Let me tell you the irony of this whole episode of the agriculture sector. When that happens, the 1979 rice riot took place. What happened with the 1979 rice riot? People died. Did that change anything? No. 1980 Tolbert was killed. By 1982, rice has gone from $9 to $14. By 1985, it had gone to $21. Okay, the rice has gone up. By 1988, rice was $35 a bag. What's going on? Has the people's life changed since 1979? No, it has not changed. But if we had invested the time in agriculture sector, as the president wanted then, we would have had a self-reliant government, and we would have seen more people would have benefited from that. But again, that's not the idea, that's not the structure. That's because I don't understand it, does not mean that it's right or wrong. Because I don't perceive it doesn't mean that I disagree with it. Okay? In my view, this is my personal view. If we had indulged and have bought the idea of William Richard Tugger to have increased the price on imported rice and keep the price for local grown rice as low as that was, but now, in my view, by my perception, maybe we may not have had a war, maybe, and maybe we would have been self-reliant by now. Maybe we would have not been relying on people giving us rice. Because given the irony of it all, let me give you some more information. During the time of from 1980 to 1985, the U.S. government was giving the Samuel Kanyando government rice on sell pay. You know what I mean by sell pay? That it gave the rice to the Puzar rice to Liberia to sell it and remit to them the cost. They were not the government was buying it. The government was they say, hey, this is the rice for $5. Sell the rice and sell us the $5 per bag. That's all they should have done. Up until today's date, we have not made that payment. We have not reimbursed the American government for that thing. At one point in time, the president asked us to contribute so that they can make payment back to the government, to the American government. You are receiving rice free. You're receiving rice on a cheap manner, low price, and then you still carry the prices of the rice up to $25 to $21, and today we are still suffering from it because we cannot feed ourselves. Then we say we are a independent country. Yeah, we are independent. We're independent from what? Now, the agriculture sector is a good base because it's spread out into the interior. It contributes to our economy. What is our concession on the agriculture sector? What is the concession? What do we have for the agriculture sector? Again, people, I'm not going to be singing song and blowing trumpet. I'm going to be giving you information as I have them. Information as I have them. Connect to the agriculture sector. Our agricultural sector basically is not as open to a lot of things as we may hope and think. Our agricultural sector basically has just a few bits and pieces of it. We are not as diversified in our agricultural sector. And why? I cannot tell you why. I'm thinking in my mind that the reason that we are not broad-based and the concession area is not open to a lot of people is because people got certain what you call it, certain drive or attraction to certain things. They got certain attraction to certain things, and those things are the ones that move us. Okay, our agricultural sector is under managed, is under indulged in. Okay, people are not investing in the agricultural sector basically because you have few people who thinking about, okay, yeah, let's make a farm. What kind of farm are you making? Are you making one farm of just a lot, and you think it's a big farm? No. If you take the agriculture sector into consideration, you will come to realize that there are a lot of things. You cannot make a rice farm on one lap of land and you say, well, I got rest to feed a lot of people. No, you don't got rest to feed even yourself for a long time. Okay? You don't have like to feed yourself for a long time. And when that happens, people will not get a lot. People will not get a lot. It will go into the market, and if it doesn't go into the market, there will be a problem. And if it's the problem that our market will still be as it is. So we need to We need to move our agriculture forward. We need to invest more into agriculture because why? We become self-dependent and we become self-sufficient. That is the bottom line. Agriculture does help the economy. It does promote the economy. It does put or make it easy for everybody to be engaged into the economy. Okay, agriculture. Remember, as I said, agriculture also have a raw material base where we'll be able to produce things. What are we producing? Our country is basically mostly export of raw material and import of finished material. Okay, which is consumable material. Consumable material is what we import. These consumable goods, we never, excuse me, we don't export or we don't export anything that is consumable. Everything we export is raw material. Raw material is what we are exporting. We need to export consumable. Why? Because when you decide to export consumable, you create another sector into the economy that becomes a production sector. When you have a production center, a production based export of finished material is more often is better rather than the export the import of finished product. We only importing a lot of finished product but never exporting anything. Our production, look at our rubber. We have been in the rubber market for about 100 years now. But what's going on? Everything we make, nothing rubber based in our country. Everything is gone. Look at our timber. We are exporting logs in the millions. What do we have to say, well, this is a finished product of plywood company? Nothing. Look at our mining. There's bombing. Go to bombing. See the holes that are left in the ground by the extraction of our iron ore. What do we have to show for the generating or the production of iron ore finished product that we exported? Nothing. 2018, our president decided to review the concession agreement given by Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who took our country and gave all our wealth away. And I mean, literally took our country and gave all our wealth away after we made her the first female president for the time. The first female president gave all our wealth away. Why did she do it? Nobody understands. She signed 68 concession agreements. Only 2 of those concession agreements met the standard that is enshrined into our law. The rest of them, nobody cares. Why? Because everybody wanted to know. We got to be serious with Liberia. If we're not serious with Liberia, let's get Liberia to Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Ivory Coast. Let's divide it between the 3 countries. Let the 3 countries take them. Because we're not serious. Because we got to be serious. And it is your responsibility as a Liberian. It is my responsibility as a Liberian to make sure these things work. Do we hold our government for our agricultural sector being down? No. Do we hold our government for the consumer for our other concessions being exploited? No. No. We have to hold our government responsible. That's why the Constitution says the Constitution says it's for our upliftment as the people. It's for our upliftment to change our living standard, to improve our lives as citizens. But if it's not working and we are not being, our lives are not being improved, we the citizens of Liberia, then we need to make a decision. It's not for the individuals who are in power to enrich themselves. No, it is for us. You see, if we know these things as a people, when we decide to take a stand, we'll take a stand for them based on the principle. That's what we'll be asking our lawmaker when they come to talk to us. Or I won't be senator, I won't be representative. Then we'll be able to ask them. Let's look at the concession of this 68. You were in the house at a point in time. What was your stand? If these things were not repealed, what did you do about it? Have you ever called the president or called those people to come in and sit and answer why? You have to ask them based on those things. These things are the ones that are bothering us today. They are bothering us today. We are taking them for granted. We take our country for granted. Where I know somebody is saying right now, listening to this, somebody was saying, but it does not affect me. It affects you. It affects you. Directly affects you. Next, in the next 2 weeks, I'll be looking at the labor law and the guidelines of the labor ministry. I'll be looking at the guidelines. Okay, I'll be looking at the guidelines. The basic thing today is that you need to understand that we are talking about the economy. We are talking about the economy of this country. We are talking about the economy of of Liberia. The factors that drive the economy. And I'm telling you that agriculture is one factor that drives the economy. I'm also telling you that the mining sector is another sector that drives the economy. I'm also telling you that there are different sectors. You got the mining sectors supporting the economy. You have the agriculture sector that is also in there making its own contribution. You have the exploration sector. These the oil sector. All these sectors contribute to the economy. The basic factor that we're not looking at, for example, forestry. Take forestry for example. Forestry is another sector. You have how many forestry concessions you have right now? If you look at the number of people that are cutting our logs and shipping it out, compare that to the people who are being denied the right to their land. Think about that. Think about the harm they are causing to the ecosystem. Think about the harm they are causing to the ecosystem. And consider that you say it's not affecting you. It is affecting you. Because if the money collected from that area is not going to come to the broad-based economy so that you can benefit, so that schools can be built, hospitals can be equipped, the standard of living for the people, for the rest of the people, including you, can improve. What are you saying? It doesn't affect you. It affects you. You are affected greatly. You are affected greatly. It's not because you think that you're not personally affected. You are personally affected. How can the government build hospitals if the money from that is going to individual pockets? How can the government build hospital if in the concession agreement they did not put anything that the concession is supposed to do in the neighborhood in which it is operating? In which it is, look at the houses I so built for the tappers. Are those places you can really call home? Those are chicken coops. They are chicken coops. How do you want people to live in the chicken coops? How do you want people to dwell in the chicken coops? You see, it's difficult when we don't understand that everything we think does not affect us directly. It affects us directly. Your responsibility as a citizen is to make sure that when a concession is signed, if it doesn't meet the requisite standard, is to take your issue up with your representative or your senator. Take the issue up with them, let them go and answer the question, because that's their responsibility to make sure those concessions meets the law, meets the requirement. How can you build, how can you operate a company in Sino County and the roads in Sano are not, the roads to Sano is not completed? How can you operate in Buchanan, between Buchanan and Maryland, or Buchanan and Sano? How can you operate in that area if you are not going to help make the roads, not build the roads? You know, ironically, I will have to talk about this one. Bomb mines to Kakata, I think it's a 5 mile rule right in between there. I think it's a 5 mile rule. For as long as I was alive in Liberia, for as long I was alive in Liberia, that road, the pavement of that road, a 5 mile road, could never be completed. Why? The government said they will pave it, but Boma gave them the money, they don't pave it. Boma said they will pave it. Government said, no, we will pave it, give all the money, no paving. Why? Because the government did not have the interest of the people. Did the people decide to take any stand that will make the government responsible to pave the road? No. When they say, well, it doesn't affect how we will walk on it, or
Oh, it doesn't affect we drive on the dusty road. Dusty road better. I mean, dusty road, we can just be on the dusty road. That's what is that's what our country people, that's why you and myself has always been very passive. We are so passive that we don't even think about what affects us and how does it work. How can we improve our own standard? How can we improve the state or change the narrative? We don't say anything how to change the narrative. No. So our economy being driven by agriculture and other concession area. We got a lot of concession area, like I told you. You have the forestry concession, you got the agriculture concession, you have the oil concession. The oil and gas is a new concession that started just about what? I think about 11, 12 years now. And you have already started giving them out to people to do exploration. And mostly our oil and gas is off the seacoast. So we are talking about deep water drilling. But at the same time, we have to invest into the area. We don't want to invest in that area to do our own type, our own exploration to know whether we got it or we don't have it, to know where the focus of the cash inflow from there will go. We don't have an aim, or we right now, if Chevron say, "Oh, I found oil," the question is, if the oil is $1 billion worth for oil, how much will we get as a Liberian people? Trust me, I was surprised today when I saw that diamond in a year generated five, yeah, I said 5.2, I think it was $5 million plus in export of diamond from Liberia. You know how much Liberia got as a country? $235,000 out of 5 million plus that was generated in 1 year. $235 million went to Liberia as royalty. People, what are we doing? Selling our country for a little bit or nothing? Individual as individual person, this is not under this government. Don't get me wrong, it's not under this government. It's under the previous government. The report says it's for the previous government, not under this government. So don't say Benson say this government. No, not this government. That's under the previous government. This is 2009. That's 2009 report I'm telling you about. To generate $5.5 million and they gave the country $235,000. That is an honest dishonesty. But why? Because the government agreed. Some people taking money and not letting what go on should go. No problem, give me something, I put it in my pocket to like broken drill down, I don't care. Our economy right now does not have a middle class. We have the very poor and the very rich. There's no middle class. To develop the middle class can be developed adequately when we look at the agriculture sector. Why? Why do I say the agriculture sector? The agriculture sector is a part of the informal concession, the agriculture sector. And the people will spread bees because why? When the guy goes in the area and he makes his farm, he gets cassava. There is a market. He can sell some of the cassava on the market. And if he finds out that he can get the cassava to the market for X amount of dollars, I remember when I was coming up, I lived in a settlement with my dad and my mom, and we made cassava farm. We made sugarcane farm. And when the time came, we dug the cassava. I still remember a bag of cassava was $5 back then. A whole big bag. Okay? Was $5. We would carry the cassava and we'll sell it. And then we'll go, I'll follow my dad, we come all the way to Monrovia, we sell it, we buy all the things we need, and we go back. But it's the same way with the sugar cane. We'll cut the sugar cane. Sometimes we cut the sugar cane right away to the mill it, and then go straight to make syrup. We'll make syrup. Sometimes we'll cut the sugar cane and we'll go make cane juice. And we'll put it on the market. We make gin and put it on the market. People bought it.
but that generated income for the family. That's how more income came, because my mother was a nurse, my father was a school teacher. Now, that does not mean that we're not being very poor. We're not very poor. Trust me, I'm telling you the truth. We're not very rich. We're not rich, but we're poor. We had a good balance in our life to eat 3 meals a day. Now, but the thing I'm getting to you is that with agriculture, you can always enhance people's life. People's life can always be enhanced by agriculture. So these factors that runs our country, we need to take them into consideration. We need to let people know about it. We need to educate our. You see, that is the problem in our culture, in our society. We are able to hype people up on expectations by criticizing the government that be. We hype people up on expectation, just criticizing the government that be. But the nitty gritty of it is we are not educating the people on what they need to do. Like, for example, I'll go back to this theory because every time I think about it, it makes me laugh. Where the guy is taking down the light pole because he wants to sell it at LA to people. And somebody say, well, no, this man is ignorant to the benefit of this light pole. He's ignorant. It's because of his ignorance that he is doing that. No well-educated, no well-informed person will decide to tear down the light pole, to take it down. No well-learned person will want to do that. Nobody who is well-informed, not even well-learned, well-informed, or well-schooled into the benefit of that. And that's the problem we have in our country. Our country problem is education. We do not educate our people. We do not educate our people. We hype our people up on the theoretical drug of lies and of negative information that tends to be negative for the country, not for the individuals that we want to remove. Take, for example, let's use it. George Weah is the president. He's the president of Liberia, elected president of Liberia. Whether we like him as an individual or not, he is the elected president of Liberia. His road process, his road project, and that's the thing I got about it, is that the only thing I got with George Weah government is everything he does, they announce it as his project. That's his project. That's the problem. That's the problem I got with George Weah. He needs to start calling it his project because now he's personal money, that our resources. So he start calling it his project. It's his duty. We put him there to build those things. So let him start calling it his project and let people start calling it his project. Because that's too naive and childish. Whether you like it or not, when this president leaves office, all the streets that he had paved, we will accredit it to him. George, we have paved this street when you were president. George, we have paved this street when you were president. Everything that he does that is positive in his regime will go to him. Everything that is negative will go to him. All the multilateral high school built in Liberia was started under William Richard Tolbert. So when you think about the multilateral high school, we think about William Richard Tolbert as the beginning author of them. The same way, the MCSS school building that were built under the president William V.S. Tubman. He built those schools. He under his auspices and his regime. Those schools are attributed to him based on the style of they were built. Now, with that being said, let us start hyping people up on information that will excite them to do more destruction to our country. It does not make no sense. It does not make no sense. This government is responsible to manage our economy so that our life as people of the country, our life can be enhanced, so that our life can take a trend upward, not downward. That's what we need for this government to do. That's what this government is supposed to do. And that is not my saying, that is the Constitution. The Constitution says that the government must manage the economy and the natural resources under condition of equality to advance the general welfare and the general welfare of the Liberian people and the economic development. So that's the Constitution, and I'm saying it.
This government is responsible to do it. That's their responsibility, to make sure that the economy grows, to make sure that the economy, that is this government's responsibility. Now, if your responsibility to your child is to clothe your child, feed your child, educate your child, when you do that, it makes you a good father. If you don't do it, you become a useless father. But when the people say you're a good father, you think they're going to kind of be standing on and clapping for you, because no, that's your responsibility. The only thing the child learns to do is to appreciate it. The child learns appreciation because of what you did. So there is no way we sit down and think that, well, it is something that the government needs to do these things. Government needs to do these things. So the Constitution is telling us as a people to know what to expect from the government, to know what the government must do. That's what the Constitution is telling us to do. But in essence, we need to be ready as the government exercise its function, to appreciate the function, to look at it. Look, Rome was not built in one day. America is 300 and some more years old and is still developing. Everywhere in America is not fully developed as you see people want to portray it. No, it's not fully developed. Look, there's two highways that runs east to west. Highway 30 and Highway 20. At certain point of the road, both of those highways meet. They come together. They converge. Okay, into one. The question is it 20 or is it 30? Where are you business? You can decide. Get right on it and go. The thing about it is, these are things that they're still developing. The, 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 the road the road for 30 and 20 space is there. One day they're going to reactivate themselves and take that road and run it. Okay, so it is easy for us to sit down and criticize the government. It is easy. It is easy for us to stop and stop just criticize the government without any mindset. Sometimes we need to educate the people. We need to educate the people. You know, our economy is not driven by ourselves. It is driven by foreigners. And why? Because all our concessions and all our things are mainly given to foreigners, and foreigners run it. So in this case, it's not a Liberian-based economy. It's not a Liberian-based economy. The Liberian-based economy is different, where you will have Liberians making these decisions in the concession area. And we will discuss this again tomorrow. We'll discuss the resources tomorrow. Another thing that, you see, somebody just said money. You know, I don't like to talk about the monetary aspect of things, because it's kind of talking about it, you have to go into a whole lot of details about it. But the person is right. When you look at our country, when the money is being changed in the street, when you have the Forest Bureau in the street and it's not under any regulation, and there's nobody setting the rate line, what happens is that it is easy. It is to roll in. Because why? If our Benson Mason is taking money from John Brown, and John Brown said, Benson, I need $1,000 in $1,000 in the next, by tomorrow. And the current rate, everybody around me or all my men, they're having a rate of probably $200, 200 to 1. And I tell the guy, my man, it will be difficult. And the guy said, look, right now, I'm giving you 225 to 1. I go out there, I started changing for 210, 215, 210, 215. What happened? I would generate more money, because somebody can, instead of them getting 200 for a $1 bill, I gave them extra $10. That car will give you better rate. You know, I know why I'm talking about when I use the word better rate. So we need to go back, and that was why puzzled me at most when Samuel Tuah said he was using $25 million into the account, into the system, but he did not go through the banks. He went through the people on the street to infuse the money in the system. And right after that, what happened? Liquidation started going on, inflation started going up. Why? Because you put money into the economy with all and tracking device. You're not tracking the money. You don't know where it's going. You don't know how it is being infused, but you infuse it through the unconventional means. Nobody keeping track. Nobody know what's going on. So it's possible. Yeah. We need to have a means of balance. We need to have a means of balance. All these forest bureaux, let them open a conventional forest bureau that can be monitored by the central bank. Let it can be monitored by the central bank. In that case, the central bank will know when the central bank telling the rate is 5 to 1, they know that it's 5 to 1 and they're going to change it. Because if they do change it and the report get back to the central bank, they can be held liable for economic sabotage. But no, we're not doing nothing. You see, look, we have our economy, but we're dabbling our economy like a piece of meat from one hand to another. And when it falls on the ground, we say, oh, my food finished wasting. Don't do that to us. Liberia has a unique economy. I know one thing, when I was coming up, I can't remember the time we had rice shortage in Liberia when I was coming up. I can't remember. Especially, only during that period. And that was when the United States said to tell the door that you're not getting another green or rice until you pay my money. Okay? But it's serious. It's serious. Our economy is driven not only by the economy, by our agriculture and our raw material, but it's also an equipment and it's also an equipment goods and services and commodity base. And this is how we look at the commodity base. Look, we do not have goods and services in Liberia. Our commodity is strictly restricted. We have restricted ourselves in all form and fashion. It's all form of goods and fashion is restricted. There's a lot of areas in which we can encourage our people to go in for business. Take, for example, the janitorial area. You can create a drug company and run it in Liberia, or call service. You can create a call service and run it in Liberia. You got a lot of area that we need to motivate Liberians to engage themselves into. Again, what are we doing? We talk. Look, it hurts me when I think about the agriculture sector, because I know one thing: the agriculture sector will yield a good result in not too far distant future if we invest into the agriculture sector. I was talking with an agriculturist, a Liberian agriculturist, and he told me, he said, in about 10 years, yes, the agriculture sector can be revived, but it will take a lot to make it revive it. I agree, but at the same time, let's look at ourselves. Let's look at our country. Let's ask ourselves, how can we enhance our country? And I'm not here to bad on the government, even though it's the government responsibility, but it's our responsibility to ensure that's what we want. All our in Monrovia, you can't eat. So why not just go in the interior where you can make it, cassava patch and eat? You in Monrovia, you are able to do a lot of stuff. Why not go in the interior, go see what you can do about making your life, pushing your life forward? There's no need of me being in Monrovia in America. If I'm in America and I can't find job to do, no way. I hustle around and I can't find job. My brother went to Liberia. It's why because I went back in the interior, go sit in my land and make some money. Okay. I go sit in my country, go sit in Melbourne. I'm sure I said I will be able to sell my basket. I'll be able to make my cassava farm. I will do a lot of things there. And that will be for me. That will be for me. If in America I can't find cleaning job, there's no need of me being in America. If in America I can't find a job that will keep me alive, there's no need of me being in America. This is where I say to people, what are you doing in Monrovia? What are you doing in Monrovia? In Monrovia, you got to find is a job. You need a job to be in Monrovia, or you need a business. You got to be doing something to generate money legally, and that will mean you supporting the economy. That will mean you're making an impact on the economy. Our economy is a staff economy, and the people who manage our economy, the president of Liberia, financial team is not strategizing enough to move our economy forward. And that's the problem. We need them to strategize to get our economy up. I will always say agriculture is the route to build agriculture is the route to build a middle class. Because when you build a middle class, the stronger the middle class, the stronger the economy. The stronger the middle class, the stronger the economy. But we have to be wanting to do something to enhance our country. We have to be. Look, there is no way we can go about this thing. There is nothing I can say more than that. Our country, one pillar of our economy growth is agriculture. And whatever we get there, we can develop other production to export our finished agricultural product out. I think just about a couple of months ago, I bought depot. I bought fufu. There are people who making it and sending it out to sell. Brought in the market. Reduce the taxes on their export. Brought in the market. Help them to get a big base. Encourage them, because that export will generate income for the country. So you see, we got a lot of things that we can do. There's a lot of things that we can do, and we need to do it. But again, it comes to agriculture. It comes to agriculture. We must be ready and willing to do with agriculture what we need to do. Tomorrow we'll be looking at the natural resources, and we'll be looking at the concessions of the natural resources. I have some data, not tomorrow, next week. I already have gotten some data, and I'll be looking at the concession law. I'll be looking at aspect of the concession law as it relates to those data. Okay, like I told you, to go back and look at the diamond concession, we'll look at the iron ore concession, we'll look at the gold concession, we'll look at the oil and gas concession, we'll look at the forestry concession, we'll see what's going on. Like I told you, there's a report out that says 66 out of 68 concessions signed during the Ellen Johnson regime were bogus. It did not benefit the people. It did not benefit the country. We will be looking at those things. Just to say that 2018, the president, we are in February, ordered a review of the concession. I'm still trying to figure out why and what did he do when he got the report. We have not seen any report yet, but I'm looking for the report of that review to see what is in it and to see what step he has taken or what step he will be taking to turn over some of those things. Just imagine 100 years Firestone Bay in Liberia. 100 years. You know how many $1 billion of latex they have exported, and you do not have one rubber manufacturing company in Liberia? That's a disheartening thing. So thanks again. This is Benson Mason, the Constitutional Forum. We are looking at Article 7 or Chapter 2, and today we will look at the fiscal policies. Next week we will conclude on the fiscal policy by looking at the management of the natural resources, and we'll see what we'll do with the natural resources and how we can strengthen our natural resources. I think a week later from that day, I'll be looking at the labor law, the fundamental guideline for labor law, the labor policies, and the labor and anything that has to do with work.
We'll be talking about that in detail. And I'll be, trust me, it's gonna be a fine thing to do because I'm gonna hold this government and all previous government accountable for a lot of insults and abuse on the people, because I will go into looking at some of the abuse that goes on. Uh, I know some people expect that I will talk on the the new bank notes or the printing of money based on the Constitution. I'm not going to talk about that right now. Uh, I know it's a hot and trending issue. Um, I will have to take a time off maybe and go into that. But for the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks or more, I'm interested in setting this baseline because I will continue to use this baseline as to other laws as we go forward. And I will see, you will see how it ties into other to other constitutional articles as we go forward. It's basically that. Um, um, I think we've done good for today. It's exactly 12:46, and I have to get off to allow somebody else to come in. Thanks for following up along. I know that you are you are I know that you are there, but this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play you a music that's gonna be something that you will enjoy. Okay, I hope that you enjoy this music. It's by Detour. Uh, it says, not because of bad dream, not because of bad dream, I will not sleep. Not because of bad dream, I will not sleep. I will sleep no matter what you do. Mm-hmm.
Because you hungry, I'm gonna eat. Oh, because of bad dream, I'm gonna sleep, yeah.
Because of bad dream, I will sleep, my brother. Are you hungry? Because you're hungry, me, I will not eat. I will eat. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. Don't be deterred. Do it. Whatever good you gotta do it.
Baby girl, come shake it for that. Shake it for that. Go down, bring it up, bring it down, put it up. Wind it, wind it, wind it, baby, wind it. Oh, bam, 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 bam. Don't let your problems hold you down. Don't let your worries hold you down. And because of that, then you would not sleep, yeah. You would not sleep. And because they're hungry, you would not eat. And because of that, then you would not sleep, yeah. And because they're hungry, you would not eat.
For a while.
Il faut goûter, vous avez la poche. 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 I'm not eating today, I will eat tomorrow.
Ah, yeah.
Good luck and shit like that, now they see. Good day for you, tomorrow my own.
Ah.
Why for you should see. Oh, one girl come on for that. Baby girl, come shake it for that. Shake it for that. Go down, bring it up, bring it down, put it up. Wind it, wind it, wind it, baby, wind it. Oh, bam, 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 bam. When you got it, Muko, you must spend it. When you get a job, you must use it. When you get a job, you must watch it. You not watch it, somebody will watch it. They believe it, go eat it. They believe it, go eat it.
Ah.
Because I'm bad,
I'm
I'm
not
not
sleep.
sleep, yeah. Because you're hungry, I'm gonna eat. Oh, because I'm bad, I'm gonna sleep, yeah.
Ah. Ah.
Every day is a weekend. We don't worry about the weekend. And every day is a good day. Don't forgive everybody. Some girl come on it for that. Baby girl come shake it for that. Shake it for that. Go down, bring it up, bring it down, put it up. Wind it, wind it, wind it, baby wind it. Bam, 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 bam. Because I'm mad and you would not sleep, yeah. You would not sleep. Because they're hungry, you would not eat. Because I'm mad and you would not sleep.
Yes. 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 My dear brothers, my sister, thanks. I've come to the end of my time. I'll see you again next week. Remember, the program is on Wednesday, 11 to 12, and sometimes actually 11 to 1. Today I have to let you go at this time. I've spent my time here. I will see you again next week, and we'll be discussing the concessions, which is the natural resources, and we'll be looking at the concessions and the acts, and we'll be looking at some of the concessions that were signed. We'll be looking at them, and we'll be dissecting some of them to see how much it fits into the good transparencies word. Until then, I am Benson Mason, your presenter and your host and presenter of the Constitutional Forum on LPR Radio. Have a nice day, and I'll see you again in a week's time.